welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate and returning to the main topic for the episode for tonight, which is the Great Transfiguration religious project, which will be held in South Sinai, more specifically, and in general, the sector of tourism, how it would be developed in the upcoming years under the current political leadership of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. And I'm honored to be having with me tonight in the studio on the Daily Debate Mr. Alaa Khalifa, the International Tourism Marketing Expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you. It's a pleasure always to be with you.
Anytime. The pleasure is all mine. Before heading to a report about the Great Transfiguration and South Sinai and all of this topic, today the reception of the President of the United Arab Emirates in New Alamain City by His Excellency President al-Sisi. What is the importance of this step?
It's strengthening the bilateral relations between the two countries. The two countries have been supportive for each other, and he's arrived today to his second country, and Egypt is welcoming United Arab Emirates President, who has been extremely supportive for Egypt and for the Egyptian people in some of the most difficult times. We know that a lot of Emirati investors are going to invest in the tourism and hospitality sectors, and also other different projects. And United Arab Emirates have been always a very supportive country for Egypt, and Egypt have been enjoying a great bilateral relationships, diplomatic relationship with the United Arab Emirates. Excellent positioning. The two countries have the same views and share the same hopes for the future.
Mr. Alaa, you're an international tourism marketing expert. As you mentioned, the investors coming from the United Arab Emirates today with His Excellency the President of the United Arab Emirates, and seeing a whole new city like the New Alamain City, seeing a new capital like the new administrative capital, new cities all over Egypt. What do they say? Because you've worked with people from all over the Gulf.
People are extremely astonished of the tremendous growth that we have been having for the last 10 years. It's been a full facelift for the country in terms of infrastructure, in terms of various projects, especially for transportation and for logistics, for industries have been introduced, for agricultural projects, for industrial areas that have been opened up, the access of Suez Canal as an industrial area, the logistics area, new urban cities to be built everywhere, the new administrative capitals. All of these are outstanding projects that are shaping up the new republic. And of course, for anyone knowing this country and have been here before, when they come back, they get astonished, because this is a tremendous change and tremendous development that actually shows how the economy is shaping up, and it will boost the economy for the future generations.
Do you think that the New Alamain City could be ready?
It's part of it.
Getting more investments?
Absolutely, it's part of it. Look now what's happening in the North Coast, and especially in the Alamain area, and it's a strategic position, whether it's geographically or politically or even historically. The rise of these new cities such as Al Alamein, or even in Galala city, or the new St. Catherine, a new project, all of these are actually part of the facelift that we are doing to utilize the actual potentials of the country, and reaching with to levels of growth and development that we need for the next generations. Our friends from the Gulf, in United Arab Emirates, and brothers, I would say, our brothers from the United Arab Emirates and brothers from Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries have been extremely supportive for Egypt, as always. And Egypt have been, as a reciprocal, giving them the same thing, has been extremely supportive for these countries. We share the same views, we share the same history, and we share even the same beliefs. And we always back back each other's up.
Yes, Mr. Alaa, we will be heading from the north coast to South Sinai and the Great Transfiguration project, which will be implemented, as I mentioned, in South Sinai. What is the importance of it? We'll be having more details on that in the upcoming report.
The Great Transfiguration project to develop South Sinai promises to upgrade St. Catherine's into a leading destination for religious, environmental, and therapeutic tourism. The government launched last year the Great Transfiguration project, a national scheme comprising a set of 14 plans for the development of South Sinai. The project focuses on the area of Mount Sinai behind St. Catherine's Monastery, the place where God appeared to Moses. The project has long been demanded by investors and Sinai residents with the aim of achieving the optimum use of St. Catherine's natural resources and the legacy of an area full of religious sites. The Great Transfiguration project includes upgrading the existing Eco Lodge and constructing a new one, establishing a peace park, building a hotel on the mountain, opening a new visitor center and administrative complex, and developing the touristic area and the heritage center in the city. It will also focus on upgrading the residential area of the local Bedouin and building a new residential compound, developing the valley of the monastery, and constructing a new road and utilities network with safety measures against floods. The buildings and facilities being constructed as part of the project are fully in line with international environmental standards, with the projection of the natural environment of St. Catherine's being one of its major goals. Maintaining the environmental and visual character of the natural environment was key to making a place a magnet for spiritual tourism.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate. Mr. Alaa Khalifa, what is the importance of the Great Transfiguration project? What is the project itself?
First of all, this project has been long awaited. It has been government after government, and we've been waiting for a time where we really take a good look of our religious locations and spots where we were able to develop them to an international level to attract international tourism. God spoke to Moses as per the Old Testament and the New Testament and the Quran. And in this holy spot, it's the only holy spot mentioned in the Quran, and where Moses received the two tablets. It's such a great transfiguration, you know. When this happened in that particular spot, this was the area where the Holy Family, Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary, have actually one of the stops in their holy flight from Herod when they came to Egypt. So you have a religious area that has extreme importance for the three main Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And so you have an amazing opportunity to develop this area. And throughout the last 30, 40 years, the attention has been given to the area of St. Catherine has been minimum. Perhaps it's not on a large scale as the current administration is actually giving. So to come up with this ambitious project, it's actually putting St. Catherine really on the tourist map, or back on the tourist map again. Because before, tourists, when they used to go to St. Catherine, used to have like a very limited time to spend there because of limited accommodation, because of limited facilities, lack of water in there, a very small number of population is not growing. Tourism grow and make communities grow. So this is what we call sustainable tourism. And in St. Catherine, there was an opportunity to grow. There was an opportunity to develop these utilities and infrastructure. There was an opportunity to attract and more people who are interested in such a religious site. People are more and more, they come from all over the world. They want to see Catherine. So why not bring them St. Catherine in a new phase that can show them how important that place is. The project is a very ambitious project, supposed to bring back the area into its holistic and strategic and religious importance among the most important religious areas around the world. Look at countries who are receiving pilgrims everywhere around the world who come and visit these religious sites. It's a kind of a tourism that people spend money. It's a high expenditure type of tourism. So I think this is a tremendous growth. It's a tremendous step towards developing a very important area like this. I think it's a bold move from our administration to take care of this area at this particular time as the world is rising again and getting back into tourism. I think we're getting ready by shaping up this area, creating a new access, for international tourism. I can't wait to see that project happening on the ground.
So mainly the main problem was that people could be coming from all over the world, but they couldn't stay there for several days.
Yeah, there used to be 2 small hotels in there. Capacity was so small. The maximum number of room nights would have been 1 night, just the people to go up to the mountain, and then they climb down the mountain and they visit the monastery and then they leave. Normally, travel agents used to sell it as an optional day tour, and very rarely when they sell it as it was 1 night or even 2 nights. The accommodation, lack of space was also a problem. The experience that you create for the tourists also has been a problem there. The monastery itself, the most religious aspect or icon in the area, has been also in need of quick restoration and a way how to look after the place. So in many ways we needed to provide more comfort, extend more accommodation areas, and so that we can create more nights, we can create more activities, create a touristic product where we were able at the end to put a touristic experience. With that experience, people will come back to the area. It will become a very popular destination. Developing the airport, the local airport there, and having a domestic flight come from Cairo on a daily basis will facilitate traveling and moving to this area for a lot of tour groups, in which will move part of this economical and I would say support to this area one more time. I think we are developing a product that long been awaited to be developed for a long time, and thanks to the Ministry of Housing and to the current government, actually the fact putting 4 billion Egyptian pounds into building 14 projects into St. Catherine area is a tremendous effort, and as I said, I can't wait to see the project happening. And the first phase, I think they will inaugurate soon, and by the end of this year they will be able to inaugurate most of these projects.
4 billion pounds.
4 billion.
So the main problem in the past governments and in the past 3 or 4 decades, because you mentioned that we had the idea for 30 or 40 years, but implementing it or the decision making itself, was it stopping because of
we had the idea
reasons?
of making it before a religious site that attracts thousands of visitors. It's don't forget that St. Catherine area is among the area for the religious path or the stopovers for the Holy Family. It's the area where Moses had the 2 tablets and God spoke to him. It is a very important area also for Muslims, as is mentioned in the Quran as the most sacred valley. It was about time that someone can come and just really take care of this area. It is a very important area. The earlier administrations, I would believe that they have taken care of the area in terms of they made it a national park or a protectorate.
Yes.
So St. Catherine has been added to the number of protectorates that Egypt put under a decree, that these protectorates are run with a special law of environment. But that was not enough. It needed, the development part was much more needed, like developing a connectivity line, developing high-end roads, international roads that connect St. Catherine to Sharm el-Sheikh and to Dahab and to many other cities in the South Sinai. It also comes as part of a greater scheme. This scheme of developing the city, the heart of the Sinai, St. Catherine, with its religious importance and capacity and attraction, it also comes as part of a much religious housing scheme and development scheme that the government has been planning all along for the last 10 years, is to provide working opportunities and housing for nearly 1 million citizens to live in the Sinai, 300,000 of them to live in the South Sinai and 700,000 of them to be accommodated in the north of the Sinai. Moving 1 million citizens into the Sinai will enhance the population capacity into the Sinai, will utilize most of its resources, and at the same time get those people engaged more into different industries. And what is best in the Sinai than the tourism industry? Sinai is the jewel of the tourism industry in Egypt, because you have such amazing cities such as the Sharm el-Sheikh, and we are having next November the COP27, which is an international conference for weather and climate, which is the entire world is giving huge attention to. And we have other areas in the Sinai, like other protectorates as well. We have different towns on the Gulf of Aqaba, and in the heart of the Sinai we have Mount Sinai, which is the most important. So this is where the project is, and of course St. Catherine Monastery, with all its religious and importance. And this became an iconic area, so it adds more to the touristic products that we are seeking in Egypt to increase. It makes people spend more nights, more touristic nights. It attracts people from different countries, and especially from the Catholic world. Especially also from Athens, as you know, St. Catherine is a Greek Orthodox monastery. It attracts people from nearby Israel. It would attract people from from Romania, from Armenia, from different countries where religious tourism is a great part of people's activities. So we believe that this is going to be a magnet once we develop the area, build up hotels. There will be hotels being built up on top of the mountain. There will be other hotels like lodges, eco-lodges, and they will all be environmentally friendly. And it will not hurt the environment, because it is still, the entire area is governed by the law of the protectorates where St. Catherine has fallen in. Just a couple of days back, I had a reporter from one of the channels speaking to me about the exact same project and saying what was the impact on the environmental impacts, and I told him I don't think there will be any environmental impact, because this will have to be governed by the law, because this area falls into a national protectorate, and when you do projects in national protectorate, there are guidelines that you have to follow. And I think within these 14 projects that they are commencing right now, they will have to comply to these guidelines, and will have to protect the government, have to help local economies. The Bedouins will have to, the tribes in there, Tarabin tribes and many other tribes that are living around the area, providing more jobs for them, enhancing their local products, helping them to sell out their touristic souvenirs, and also get them engaged into the tourism industry more. In a way, taking tourism in the South Sinai as a sustainable tourism model, what we are seeking nowadays, not only in Egypt, but in the rest of the world.
Yes, the term itself, religious tourism, do you think that it is new to Egypt? Do we need more effort to it? Because we've had it for thousands of years, but it seems the term itself, we are using it for the very first time in South Sinai.
Well, first of all, we need to understand something. It's tourism have got different segments and or different types of tourism that are. Some countries are more into one or two types, and some other countries are more specialized into leisure type of tourism, or beach tourism, or cultural tourism. Or religious tourism, like Saudi Arabia, for example.
Yes.
But when it comes to Egypt, Egypt have got a diversity of segments, of tourism segments, where we are able to provide every type of tourism. To first of all, we have the sun, we have the Red Sea, we have the history, the oldest known country on earth, we have the archaeology, and we have the religious spots, where it's mentioned in the old Abrahamic books. You got religious areas that are far more important than many other religious areas around the world. For example, not only in the Sinai, but also down in areas such as Cairo, for example. You have the ancient churches from the 4th century. You have a hanging church. You have St. Sergius Church. That's where the Holy Family stayed in a cave underneath the church for 3 months during their holy flight. You have other churches. You have Mataria Church, and you have monasteries in Egypt that are built starting from the 2nd century AD, the 3rd and 4th century AD. You have the oldest known monasteries in the world. Do you know that monasticism started in Egypt? You have San Anthony Monastery and St. Paul was two of the oldest known monasteries in the entire world. You have St. Catherine, of course, the area where we are talking about its development. So, yes, Egypt has been always a place, a Mecca for religious tourism. When you move from these Christian sites to Jewish sites, we do have some of the most and the oldest known synagogues in the world. And in one of these synagogues, the Ben Ezra synagogue, we found manuscripts that are thousands of years old, and they are spread out all over the world, and they all come from Egypt. We have also for Islam some of the oldest known mosques that are 1,000 years old or even 1,200 years old. Well, these mosques are among some of them, present some of the most beautiful architectural designs in the Islamic architecture. We also have a number of companions and fellows of our Prophet Muhammad buried in Egypt, many of their descendants. So yes, religious tourism in Egypt has been a pattern and has been a very important pattern, and it's about time that we are taking care of it, and so that we become
better marketing for it. For the people.
This is where I come.
Yes,
this is where I come.
For the people to know about
exactly. It's awareness. What we need to do is we need to go to our marketing plan, or our marketing strategy should be focused on 3 different stages. The first one would be awareness, creating the right awareness about these locations. So creating as much content as we can, creating the very attractive stories that can tell people about these potentials and these religious sites. And then the next stage, we move into engagement. We engage with different people, different affiliated groups who are more interested. This is the travel persona for us that we are targeting. We're getting to the right custom audience. And then the third stage is conversion, is to convert those people to make the decision and move Egypt from being a country in the bucket list into the to-do list That's what we need to do. And then once we do that, the conversion phase is that we have to create at this point a touristic experience that could be described as unforgettable touristic experience, where people brave about it, go back, leave us the good testimonials, go back to their homes, each one act as an ambassador, speaks to his friends, speaks to his counterparts, his families, tell them how wonderful, how romantic, how intriguing this experience of visiting Egypt sites or Egypt religious sites or even Egypt archaeological sites have been for him. So for that purpose, we would be creating repeated travelers coming over and over again. And then we keep pushing into creating more and more content, putting that content all over the world. And that's the main core of leading a destination marketing campaign.
On the other hand, what are the challenges that are currently facing not just the religious tourism, but tourism in Egypt in general, as you mentioned, to be moving Egypt from the bucket list to the to-do list?
The challenges at the moment is what I just mentioned to you 2 minutes ago, is the touristic experience. The kind of experience that we need to create for tourists. This is one of the biggest challenges that are facing tourism in Egypt right now. See, what happens is that we have the product, and we are developing the product. What we are talking about today is just developing the product.
Yes.
So we are spending money, we're saving every effort to enhance and shape the face of tourism products in Egypt, right? Look at the Mummy's Parade, look at the Sphinx, Avenue of Sphinx inauguration and parade, right? All of that, all of these things are meant to draw attention to the rest of the world. On the next end of September, we're having a big musical concerts by the pyramids, and 2 months later we have another one and another one, and so we keep having all of these different events to attract the attention of the world to us. And then we have all these products, we have the infrastructure, we have the hotels in different categories, in different classes, but when it comes to little tourist experience, then there is some enhancement needs to be done, such as we need to provide the right way transportations to those people. We need to engage them more into local communities. They need to try the local food. They need to be able to. We need to have number of laws that protect tourists from being exploited. We need to enhance the experience of visiting these sites. You see what happened in St. Catherine right now is actually taking the tourists from one area to the other and providing such a tremendous, amazing experience for him, so that tourists would not be lost trying to find a place to go from here, stay there. And so this is what the overall touristic experience, the ease of access. We need people to act like locals and walk like locals and do
changing the whole culture.
This is the touristic experience that will make people go back and love this country and say, I have lived here, I walked like an Egyptian and did this.
Opinions are being shared all over the time on social media nowadays. Mr. Alaa Khalifa, the International Tourism Marketing Expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
It's a pleasure.
And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching and goodbye.